Welcome to Scary Stories about Wallachia, the home of Vlad the Impaler and his brother Radu. Now, Wallachia is an exonym or name that comes from the people outside of the place. Now, the actual name from the people who live in this place is Tara, which I probably butchered very badly. But not as butchered as people killed by the guy I'm going to talk about later, but we'll get to that. That is the endonym, the opposite of an exonym, so it's the common native name, and it means the Romanian land.
Wait, is this a country?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's the
So it's not Romania?
It's the historical and geographical region of modern day Romania, but there's
gotcha.
other parts to it now. It's different, you see. Moving on. So you can see this map here.
Yeah, I can.
Wallachia, Transylvania, separate part initially. Now same. The first time it actually is mentioned was in the 1200s in a charter from a Hungarian guy to his voivode, Stanislav. And then local tradition is actually like, actually, I think it was rather Negro. But basically, Hungary had a bit of control, and then people were like, I hate that guy. Let's move on. You can see we're on the world map. It leads in. I drew a nice arrow on the slide.
Why you grew now?
So, in the early AD,
Yeah.
I forgot what that part of time is called. So, Romans and the Goths and the Transylvanian Saxons, which were like the Germanic Saxons, the Germanic Transylvanians, there's lots of people involved here. They're all fighting over the land, and they're the main powers involved, and we've switched accents.
Yeah.
And then, in 332 AD, Attila the Hun, center stage, rocks everyone's shit. And then, in the 1200s, Genghis Khan, you know that guy?
Mm-hmm.
He has some sons. And they say, how about we invade Europe? And everyone says, oh shit. And so instead of fighting over Wallachia and all the other places around it, they say, okay, how about we all just team up, collaborate, and let's stop this from happening. They don't stop it from happening. But then, internal politics and stuff, the Mongols go away, whatever. But we end up with the creation of Wallachia in this time period. And then, eventually, the Ottoman Empire, BAM! New Attila the Hun. That's probably not historically accurate, but they have a vibe. Wallachia is forced by the Ottoman Empire to be in suzerainty to them, which is different to sovereignty, because sovereignty means you have direct control, but then suzerainty is like, hey, we have control and you gotta do what we say, but you can go over there and do your own thing. you can go over there, it's fine. Enter Vlad II, Vlad Dracul. He is called Dracul, the dragon, because he has a fun father figure in the Holy Roman Empire who...
I love my Pope Jesus, not Dad and Jesus.
So basically this guy was a bastard.
Yeah.
And he wasn't in line for shit.
Yeah.
But then he grew up in the court of the Holy Roman Emperor, whose name I can't remember, it's probably Charles or some shit. And he was like, bro, you know what? You should be in my frat that I just made. It's called the Order of the Dragon. And basically, we just love Jesus and shit. Like, you remember Crusaders? We're like that, but no one's gonna remember what we did, because we didn't do anything. And then his Pope adjacent, not dad, is like, hey, you can be in charge of Wallachia. So he does that. And so then he gets the job. He's the voivode, and the Ottomans are like, all right, you can do it. That's allowed. But because the Ottomans were Muslim and his Pope adjacent not dad was Christian, it was walking a fine line. fine, you know? And so, he has some issues. And so basically, okay, here's the deal. So, the Ottomans are like, bitch, you're too Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Come here, okay? Come here. And so then,
Yep.
then he's in a little bit of trouble because he's basically a political prisoner and he wants to go back and be king again. So then he's like, hey, I have 2 young sons. How about you just keep them? You just hold on to them, and that'll make sure I don't do anything bad. His 2 sons grow up in the court of the Sultan, and then he dies. He goes up to some whoop place in Pennsylvania, and the villagers stab him to death. So that's fun for him. And then we have his sons, Vlad and Radu. Radu the Beautiful. Now, these guys grew up political prisoners.
Yeah.
Oh.
Whoa! Changing
The
arm.
crickets are coming. They both handle their imprisonment differently. Vlad says, I'm gonna learn everything I can to destroy all of my enemies, and everyone is my enemy, and I hate everybody in the world.
Fair and valid.
Radu says, I fucking love it here. This is great. I've got besties, and also, I'm growing up next to this guy, the son of the Sultan. He's hot.
Also fair and valid.
They have other family members, like an uncle and half brothers and stuff, and they're, you know, kicking shit up and not running things well. And so then the Ottomans are like, hey, Vlad, you could do it. You're like slightly less bad than the rest of them. And so Vlad jumps on that. So he actually used a lot of guerrilla tactics, you know, very effective warfare if you're going for winning. Not sustainable, considering the number of people he killed, and went like big on the scorched earth kind of policy.
Yeah.
So like, effective, not morally great, but you know, we all have our strengths. Immediately, as soon as he came to power, he collected all the other nobility who had like turned against his dad, murdered him, killed all of them. He was violent as hell, which, you know,
Sometimes
you gotta
just
do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And he spiced it up. He made retelling popular. It became his thing. It's like literally his thing now. So good on him for that. And most of that came from the Transylvanians. So they were the ones who made all the myths about him drinking blood and shit and, you know, being crazy. The worst shit he did was to Transylvania. So Transylvania was like, oh, we're gonna publish all this terrible shit about you and ruin your name. And then, you know, history happens. People don't read well. And now everyone thinks he's from Transylvania. So, fuck Transylvania.
Yeah.
You really shot yourself in the foot with that one, or impaled yourself in the foot with that one. Yes. Now his brother. This is Mehmed. He's the son of the Sultan. He becomes the Sultan. His dad is like a big shot who, you know, this family had conquered Constantinople and shit. Like, that was what they did. Known bisexual himself, you know, he had a harem and there were men and women. He was into the arts. He has potted flowers all around his little palace. He and Radu, they don't like to say it. They don't say it. But they were fucking. Radu converts to Islam, even. He basically says, fuck my brother, I'm gonna fuck this guy.
Cool.
Which, you know what you want. You know what you want.
A guy's gonna do what a guy's gonna do.
Exactly. And if what you want to do is Ottoman dick, then you do it. Anyways.
And I've always said that.
Mehmed is like, Vlad, you gotta chill. And Vlad says, so Vlad, at 31 years old, makes his first campaign against the Ottomans. His most famous campaign moment is the night attack at Targovista,
Mm.
where you had the Sultan's forces encamped and stuff, and Vlad puts on their own little armor and outfits, comes at night and tricks them into letting him and his forces into the camp, and then they attack it and they raid it, and he almost kills the Sultan, but he got the wrong tent.
It happened.
It was dark, you know, we all make mistakes. Mehmed is later coming through, and he finds a forest of impaled bodies. 20,000 plus that Vlad had just left there as a little treat.
Yeah. He left
Said,
it.
hey, I made you a present. I don't know if you like it. It's many, maybe even tens of thousands. It's all your people and I killed them. Surprise. So then Mehmed is like, oh.
You shouldn't have.
Wow. I'm gonna go. But unfortunately, very sad. Vlad dies because of internal politics and shit. It's not even in a big fancy battle or whatever. And then Mehmed and Radu, I don't know, they just live their happy gay life or something, I
Good
don't
for
know.
them.
And then just some other random guy becomes the leader of Wallachia. Yeah, that's all.
That was good.
Yeah.
Very nice.